So I've had a few questions about what we use for perimeter fence, and there's things you can and can't afford to do. Every situation's different. On rented ground, what I like to do is go around, and most farms are going to have some kind of existing fence. Either old hay farms or old cattle farms. Most of the ones I pick up have some kind of existing fence. If it's pretty decent, I'll go through and I'll beef that up. I've got getting pretty good with my hot wire or with my barbed wire stretchers. The Texas fence stretcher, and then I've got the ratcheting style fencer that I use quite a bit more often. We'll throw in steel posts, and sometimes that fence then is going to be good enough you can run cows against it. Sometimes it's not. You're going to have to add an interior hot wire. Most of the time for me that looks like just a poly wire, but that means I've got a good enough fence on the outside that if they get through the hot wire, that poly wire, expect them to not just be able to walk out. Woods fence is going to be a little different. That's going to be something that you're not going to get as much pressure on, so you can get away with a little bit more most of the time. High stress situations would be running up against other cattle, or heavy wildlife flows. Sometimes there you'll need to add something, beef that up a little bit, add a gate. If you could see a big wildlife trail or something, they're going through there, they're going to push the fence down. And the other big one is going to be row crops on the other side, something that's very enticing, a reason that those cattle are going to want to get out. So other cattle, row crops, or something's going to be busting through the fence. Those are the kinds of things that I will go kind of above and beyond and make sure we're a lot of times I like to leave a dead space in those scenarios, especially running against other cattle. If cattle can get nose to nose, they're going to find a way to get together or kill themselves trying a lot of times. And so I'll usually run at least one poly wire or one steel wire electrified, give a 10 to 20 yard space there so that they don't want to get together. They can't get their noses to touch. If I was going to build new fence, which honestly I haven't done a whole lot of, I kept threatening to last year at my house, and I ended up just going through, stretching the barbed wires, added, there was an old barbed wire used as an electric fence, so I took that one. I guess I'll start with this. The original fence there, as far as I can tell, is over 60 years old, so the barbed wire is pretty rough, rusty. If you twist it, it's going to break. When I cut down the 20th tree that was in the fence, 40 posts fell over. It was the only thing holding them up. So what I did is I got a good stretch in all the wires that were there. I added a gate for easy access for me going in and out, and then I put in posts. And then there was a 6 or 7 year old barbed wire that had been an electric fence. I went and put that back into the existing 5-wire fence. So now I've got 6 wires, at least one good one, and then I went ahead and put an electric wire in it. That keeps the cows from pushing on it, rubbing it down, keeps the sheep from doing the same thing. And so I'm running sheep against that. It's 6 barbed wires and 1 hot wire, and for now that's working. Ideally, I would go through and fix that. I used to think I was going to go with the timeless and 6 hot wires, alternating dead, hot, and that may still be what I do. I think that timeless makes a beautiful perimeter fence, but having some woven wire, just to me, I think I'd sleep better. So I haven't fenced it. I haven't priced these out. Do your own work. For cows, barbed wire is probably good enough for most of us, if you don't mind handling the stuff. But for cows, 5-wire alternating hot cold with a good insulated post, I think would make a good perimeter fence. And I want to caveat that saying that you want that to be mains fence. You don't want that to be relying on a solar charger if you can help it, or off a battery fencer. For a perimeter fence, that's where you want to spend your money. You want to make sure your cattle are contained. That keeps the cattle safe. That keeps the people around you safe. And you don't want to have to go looking for cows. That's the worst feeling in the world. And it can happen if you have livestock. It's easy enough to happen if you have a gate left open, or a truck drives through your fence, or a deer jumps through it and knocks it down, or a tree falls on it. Those things can happen easy enough. So we want to build the best perimeter fence we can and don't have to worry about it as much as possible. So that's my philosophy. If you're going to spend money somewhere, the electric fence, then water, then shade. That's kind of where I'm at, interior fencing. But most of what I do is just fix an old fence, putting a hot wire on the inside of it and rolling on. It's cheap, it's effective, and if you're gonna draw a new lease up, I know Greg Judy, one of the things I learned from him early on in his books and his YouTube videos. If you're going to lease, if you can, then you can afford to leave the fence and just write it off over 5 years. But if you're gonna go in for just a short amount of time, or you're gonna spend a bunch of money putting in a perimeter fence, a hot wire perimeter fence, you want to be able to take that with you, put that in the contract, and make sure that it's easy to go. That is the only issue I found with the timeless fence, is I don't know that it's really made for putting in, taking up, putting in, taking up. So those are the only considerations I really have. If you're going to try to pick your fence up and take it with you when you leave, make that simple. I would go probably high tensile because the spinning jennies make that pretty easy. You got to have a spinning jenny, and then some kind of maybe fiberglass post that you can push in and pull out. Pretty simple. And I wouldn't turn you away from the timeless. I think they're a great post. I just think they're a little easier if you're going to set them and leave them. When it's dry, they get pretty hard to pull up, and you got to pound them in. You can't just push them in. So something to consider. So hope this helps you guys. Like, subscribe, follow for more. Thanks.